And right now we are being joined by Adeniyi Ifetayo. He is a media analyst, and it's always a pleasure to have you join us, Adeniyi. Good morning.
Good morning. It's my pleasure once again to be here.
Good
Right. So let's
Although virtually.
yeah, oh yeah. So let's hit the ground running, right? There's this particular story that's been making the headlines. In fact, it broke the internet, and it has the federal government and Ogun State tied up in stitches. Now, this is how the Guardian put it: international embarrassment, says Obi, as federal government moves to recover seized jets. So 3 jets, presidential jets, have been seized by a Chinese company. What's your take on this, though? Olumide has got lots of questions for you on this one. But let's start. How does this story hit you? Yeah.
Yes, it's just so embarrassing that sometimes our government, they fail to live up to their end of the bargain. You have it just like a normal business. You have an agreement. I'm going to do this. I'm going to execute this. And we're going to release your fund in tranches. Whether you are the one that is at the helms of affair or you are not the one during the time the transaction took place, governance is a continuum. You inherit both the assets and the liability. But when you, maybe by the time you get to the position of authority and you want to shy away from the outstanding, from the debt or from your commitment or the commitment of the past government, maybe because they are not in tune with your party or with your ideology, you put us in an unnecessary embarrassment or national embarrassment. Let me put it that way. I even know of an individual that the federal government, this was a man who recovered over $12 billion back to Nigeria. In fact, it was part of the money that some of the states were used as a bailout when they were owing workers 8 months, 1 year salaries. And the agreement was that if I chase this money and I got back this money, I'm entitled to my 20%. Mm-hmm. If I didn't win the case, yes, federal government hold me nothing. And he got the money back. You are using it, bail out workers. And for the man to get his money, the man personally told me that I could have gone to international court. I will know what I can do. I get my money from all the Nigerian assets or reserve, but it's going to be an embarrassment, a national embarrassment. So it's just like I was listening to Lumide that we don't take preventive measure until that thing happen and keep occurring again and again and again. I thought federal government could do better than this, than putting the nation in an embarrassment situation.
All right.
In an embarrassing situation, rather.
Yeah, I have a whole lot of questions, but let's start from one place. Now, the president, the Chinese firm are going for Nigerian assets in 8 countries: United Kingdom, United States, and some other countries. So my question now is, it seems as if this particular deal is not the only deal that the Chinese are seeking redress. That means they have other deals that have gone wrong. And how were they able to secure this presidential jets outside the country, and in the midst of the presidency trying to acquire new presidential jets? So just how many jets do we even have in this country that we're being asked to tighten our belt?
Yeah, first and foremost, there will always be a foreign trip, whether the president or the vice president or Minister of Foreign Affairs or ambassador need to represent. So anytime the jet land and it will be grounded in those countries they got injunction from. So to avoid all these things, I'll still say the dialogue or renegotiate the instrument. Okay, we don't have such fund now, but let's be paying bit by bit. Even bank does that if your business or your transaction goes south. So you can renegotiate the instrument. Oh, I'm supposed to be paying 5 naira, for example, every month. Oh, because I just came on board, those people that were there before me, they mismanaged the resources and all of that. Give me the opportunity. Let me be paying 1 naira every month. So by the time you show commitment, but if you are saying you knew nothing about what happened in the past, you are not going to sanction it, they know how to get their money, of course, because they are businessmen and they don't want to lose funds. So just like I said, as a businessman or as a government, or you inherit both asset and liability. So if you are doing the needful, other countries too, they are owing construction. And don't forget that Chinese company, they are one of the biggest construction company, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa. So, and I know that this kind of a thing, I think one of these African countries, where they, in fact, they almost use the airport, so to say, some of their critical infrastructure. So if Chinese, they are not saying give us crude oil, let's execute this project for you. But we know we have enough resources, let's execute this project on your behalf. Why you be paying us bit by bit? I didn't see anything difficult in that, but just for the future's sake, I don't think you should get to this point.
Yeah,
go back to the table, renegotiate, and this will, so that to avoid all these embarrassing situations.
Yeah. So before Olumide comes in again, just to back up what you just said, now things went sour between Ogun State. The business deal here is between Ogun State and the Chinese company. And things went sour in 2016, way back in 2016, when Ogun State government revoked the company's export processing zone management contract. That's how this thing started. So now the Chinese company has been seeking redress since 2016, and they went to the court in Paris to file for this particular order to confiscate the presidential jets because, according to them, Ogun State violated one of their bilateral agreements, which is why we should be very careful when we go into these bilateral agreements, right?
Yeah. Yes, of course. For any state to secure whether loan abroad or bilateral agreement, it will be federal government usually stand as what we call the guarantor to guarantee such instruments, to guarantee such deals. So of course, it's just like here, if you stand in for somebody and renegade on his own obligation, you go after the guarantor. Of course, you think you can recover your money from. But of course, just like I said, it is in this climb that maybe, I don't want to mention party, this party left, an administration left that does not belong to the same new party that came on board. They don't want to attend, or they don't want to honor whatever agreement. It happened even in project. That's why we have so many abandoned projects later all over the state, because this new administration came on board. I'm PDP, or I'm APC, or I'm a Labour Party, so I don't have anything to do, or I want to, initiate my own program, my own project, which, if you look at it, that particular administration might not even finish it. So governors, like I said, I still maintain that fact that it should be a continual, stuff. So whatever you meet on ground, renegotiate. Kudos to the last administration, that's during the President Buhari, who said that he was not going to embark on a new project, on a new infrastructure, but he will look at the old project where the last administration, left behind. If there's a one, I knew that there was a one they renegotiated, they got about $4 million reduction from what previous administration has done. So those are the things, those are the channels. If not, if you are standing in for someone, that means you are guaranteed. So if the person refuses to honor the agreement, of course, they will come after you.
Yeah.
It's all about business.
All right. So lastly, how will this affect our relation or bilateral relations with the Chinese right now? Because I know Nigeria loves to do business with the Chinese government. And this is quite like a dent on our image. I don't know whether they would still want to further do business with Nigerians, knowing fully well how this went sour. So how will this affect our relations?
It will, because they also have their association, and just like you said, I'm sure. I think China, if not number one, were destination where Nigerians, businesses or government, have so much transaction, bilateral relationship, international trade, etc., etc. So doing this is not just about federal government alone or Ogun State government in particular, but it's snowball across all the state. Like, if you are going there, be careful. Just like the Americans or the UK, we say that if you are traveling to this particular state, for example, in Nigeria, please be careful because of situation, security report. And so it's the same thing for these. Please, I just want to implore our government, they can do better, they can go back to the table and see what they can do to remedy this situation, because it's going to affect all the people doing business, and it might make Chinese to shy away from Nigeria as the next destination of businesses in Africa.
All right, very well said. Away from this particular story, let's take a look at another story on the front page of the Guardian. It says, Discos defend tariff hike, claim Band A customers pay lowest rates in West Africa. What's your take on this?
I want to take a cue. This time around, I might want to believe them, because come to think of it, if you check, I'm still saying it, it might be a bitter truth. Nigeria is still among the what will I call it, in West Africa. Don't let me generalize it. It's still among the lowest nation, as in that pay the lowest tariff, yes, when it comes to electricity, you understand. But because we have the numbers, and our government, they hardly give incentive to something that benefits the masses. You understand? So I'm sure it's a situation I've seen in a place, in a country, in a state in Nigeria, where I think it was whether the commissioner or the governor in that particular state, there's an area that have been owing the NEPA situation that we normally call them almost hundreds of millions of naira, and he just decided to set it off so that my people, that can be a kind of relief. If you hear the kind of amount of money these people pay to bring in their machines, to bring in their equipment, port and all of that, these are the area that the government can give them an incentive, 50% reduction or 60% reduction, so as to, it will snowball to the masses or to the people in Nigeria who are customers of these power holding company, because of course they are in a business. It's not a government run parastatal or company, so they want to make profit, so to say, and they can't be spending more than they earn. They want to, of course, break even, and after breaking even, at least to make at least a margin as a profit. So it still boils down to the government. They are not being proactive, and these are the things that every now and then, just trust me, in the next 1 year, this thing will still happen again. So what are the government doing? They still need to think out of the box. There are so many essential services, that make businesses run smoothly, that makes the economy run smoothly, that they need to pay more attention. Whether you want to give tax relief, you want to give tax holiday, you want to give a kind of incentive, even just like in medical, if you are bringing medical equipment to this country, they extend such gestures to them. Why not electricity that is being beneficial to all and sundry?
All right, thank you very much. Let's move our attention to this particular headline that me and Vivian were discussing before. It's on the Punch paper. It says harvest season reduces inflation by 39.5%. I know yesterday, or I think the day before yesterday, we also read a report that military had sent their troops to the northern states to secure the farms and all that. But with this food harvest season reducing inflation, what are your hopes? What are your thoughts? It almost seems too good to be true, but it is a good thing to rejoice about. But what are your thoughts? I also said that I'm waiting till tomorrow to go to the market to confirm this reduction. But what are your thoughts about this?
But you and I know that it's very difficult. Whatever goes up in Nigeria hardly comes down when it comes to prices of food commodity and food condiment, But it's just, at least sometimes I do use it to challenge when I'm making some transactions. They like, but the government said that this thing has been reduced. Why is it, selling it at this particular point, particular prices? But let's just hope that it will snowball. It's not just showing us paper workings. It will be a reality. It will be something that the marketers or the traders will really, shows that things has really calmed down. But don't forget, there are so many other things that make prices goes up in Nigeria, especially when it comes to the issue of transportation, bringing the farm produce to the city where it's being needed and all of that, the road infrastructure. And you imagine that for a product of, let's say, for example, for a harvest of, let's say 1 million, it might take you almost 500, 700,000 to bring into the city. So you see, discover that the prices still remain the same, while the inflation reduction in the book record a lower percentage. So it still boils down to other critical factors that has to do with this farm produce. How do they bring it out to the market? What's the cost of fuel or the cost of transportation and all of that? I told us once in this platform, a driver bringing stuff from, I think whether from Kano, one of these northern states, said that they usually prepare almost 400,000 as money to part with on the road, not money for fuel, not money to repair the vehicle when he had issue. To part on the road from every point to another point. I don't want to mention this paramilitary will be here, will give them, they say there's a fixed price, that you must pay. So do you think that person will say there's inflation reduction? Because I'm not sure those people will leave the road and say you can go freely, so that will go and supply all those farm produce. So those are the things that bring about cost or rise in the cost of farm produce. But we just hope that it will come down. Maybe when they say that the inflation has come down, those people that are mounting the road will also say, instead of you to pay 10,000, pay 5,000. I doubt it.
All right, just in less than a minute, before we brought you on, we were talking about something, preemptive measures. So I'd like to take you up on this. The Daily Trust newspaper, which says 3.7 million Kano residents and 362 communities at risk. What can be done right now to salvage this? What can be done right now, and what preemptive measures? Because this is still going to flood. It's every year. So what can be done right now, and what can we do against next year?
I'm sure each state have a master plan of their state, and they should look at all these areas, those areas that are prone to flood and all of that, and address it. They have a master plan. The House of your General, whether of the Federation or the state, look at it at people building in a right of way, or where there should be drainage and all of that. All those things should be addressed. And if some of our drainage have been filled up, it is high time they begin to, we still have problem with a maintenance culture. It's not about providing infrastructure, it's about maintaining it, because it will get to a point the infrastructure will decay, or it will, maybe the time span or that it can stay has lapsed, and you need to maintain it. You need to put so many things in place. So when you are saying preventive measure, drainage, and also reorientate the people. It's not when it is raining. That's when you will. That's when you bring your waste bin and discharge it on the drainage, so that you feel that so I don't have to pay for those cart pusher that throw away the rubbish and all of that. So reorientation, drainage, and as well, if there is any house sitting on maybe where there's supposed to be a canal, show them the master plan, but at least you can compensate them. Don't just bring down somebody's house who have labor, because so many people, want to see pieces of land, they don't want to know the plan in that community or in that area. They just want to build on it. So our people need to be orientated. Before you start building, go to the local government, ask, is this place under acquisition? If not, is there public infrastructure that we need to go through this place? So those are the things that they need to put in place. Information, reorientate our people, drainage, look at the master plan, and let it be accessible to the people at the local level.
That's a safe place to land, Adeniyi. Massive sensitization is key. Thank you so much for being brilliant on the show as usual today. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right.
And greetings from Johannesburg.
I thought as much. See you when you come back.